So on a curious whim, I signed up for a course that he offered for Teachers of Presence. It's called Teachers of Presence. If any of you are familiar with Eckhart Tolle, he has a very interesting approach to mindfulness and meditation and presence and being in the now. He has a wonderful book, The Power of Now, which I believe Oprah keeps on her side table. I love that. And I wanted to share something that he spoke about because it was so interesting and so helpful. So the first few minutes of the first lesson, he was defining things and said, there's 3 different kinds of teachers of presence. There's 3 different kinds. There's the everyday teachers. This is all of us who practice. There's the modality teachers, meaning people who are in the helping professions, the massage therapists, the psychotherapists, the doctors, nurses, what have you. There's those kind of teachers of presence who have to, because of their line of work, maintain their grounding very carefully. And then there's the spiritual. So anyway, looked it up a little bit, wanted to see, what does spiritual teacher mean? What does spirituality mean? What do people think it is? And, I think I looked up maybe Psychology Today. They have good articles. Spirituality is, for some people, it is something that comes with a belief in God and participation in an organized religion. And for other people, it's about non-religious experiences, people getting in touch with wanting to get in touch with their spiritual selves, through reflection or being in nature or doing prayer, private prayer, or yoga or meditation like we do here. That still wasn't good enough, and I looked further and I found a definition that suited me, that brought some comfort and ease, and it was somebody who's a head at the George Washington Institute for Spirituality and Health, and her take is spirituality is the aspect of humanity, that refers to the way individuals, us, the way we seek and express meaning and purpose, and the way we experience interconnectedness to the moment, connectedness to ourselves, to others, to nature, and other significant aspects of our lives. So that kind of spirituality resonated, right? As mindfulness practitioners, you've tasted this sort of interconnectedness to the present moment, right? As a mindfulness practitioner, you pause, you sense into your body during the day, you notice your breath, you become grounded because you're noticing your in-breath, your out-breath. You stop thinking for a moment. It's refreshing when you do that, when you come back. That is presence. That is spirituality. So yes, if that's what spirituality is, I'm a spiritual teacher. I can hold that identity comfortably. And the beautiful thing, though, is that when you move through your day in this fashion, when you have moments where you can come back to the present moment, notice your body, notice your breath, you are a teacher. And on a personal note, this is wonderful news to me because it's less pressure on me. You are the teachers too. So when you're present in your life, you teach others about presence. And you don't need to say anything even. You don't need to get up on a Zoom call. You don't need to get up on a podium. You are, sometimes it's better not to talk when you're teaching presence. Words are often unnecessary. It's not what you do or what you say, it's how you do and how you say. If you're able to be connected to this presence, this source, that is the teaching to others. And how do you know that you're qualified to be a teacher? How do you know? If you do what you do with presence, and it doesn't need to be all the time, but some of the time, if you do what you do with some measure of presence, you are qualified. You are a teacher of presence. It's tangible, it's palpable to others around you. There's something that that allows you to give off this sense. I'll give an example, kind of a crude example, but my friend, I have a dear friend who's a pretty angry person, and just from the causes and conditions of her life, which were very difficult. And a life of difficulties, by the way, primes you for being having deeper spirituality, having difficulties in your life, whether it's now or in the past, really lends itself to this sense, this awakening, right? It's this present moment connection in a way that an easy life really doesn't support. So my friend is thankfully on a good path, and she's not a meditator per se. She's a dog walker. She spends she spends hours every day in the forest with dogs, and she really loves it. She loves the dogs. She's been doing it 15 years. She's a very spiritual person. And she easily gets into verbal combat with people. And I think she has maybe some of you know what the RBF is. An RBF, I won't say what it's the resting bad face, your resting bad face. My kids alerted me to this concept, which is if you're someone, and I happen to be this way a little bit sometimes, if you're someone who when you're not aware that someone's looking at you, if you tend to have a scowl on your face, that's your RBF, and it gives a vibe, right? So my friend does have that naturally, and so sometimes she can attract certain energies, and she complains about it, but she knows it's all right. She was in a parking lot, and somebody jumped out of their car, and a man, and really accused her in really harsh tones of touching his car. And he was shouting, and anyway, her habit is to explode. She can really give you what for if you hit her the wrong way, and instead she came into presence. Instead she came into presence, and she let go, and she walked away. And so in that parking lot there was one angry person, and there was still one angry person. There weren't two. She didn't increase that. And that was thanks to her presence. She's a teacher of presence sometimes. So how do you know you're qualified? You've felt it when you've been able to be non-reactive like that in a triggering situation, right? when you've had that capacity to come back to the present moment and to see things in a more spacious manner and not engage and not mirror with the angry person or with whatever energy. When you let it go, you feel the anger arise in you to match that, or the irritation or what have you, but then you let it go quickly. That's presence, and that's a teaching for that person and other people around. You're less burdened than you were before, less burdened by your past and your future, because you now spend more time in the present moment. So the past, right? The past is a burden. We carry regrets about the past. We carry guilt. We carry nostalgia, the good old days, which is fine until we're spending too much time and wishing that things now were more like they were then, pining for things. Grievances are part of the past. The future can be a burden because maybe you're always thinking ahead to the next moment and you're not really in the present moment. So that's a burden, like it brings excessive worry, fear, anxiety, right? Fear of what might happen. Not using thoughts of the future as a way to plan thoughtfully, but being burdened by this obsession over the possibilities of what might happen. So if you're practicing, you're less burdened by your past and your future. You're able to let go a little bit and focus instead of on what's happening in the now. Then you're qualified, for sure. And you feel that when you spend more time in the present moment, this sort of natural spaciousness arises. And you feel it. So, an example that came to mind the other day. So imagine yourself, maybe you're sweeping the floor. And at first, your mind is elsewhere. You want to get it done. You want to move on to the next thing. You're thinking about what you're going to do when you're done with this onerous task. You have to sweep the floor. And then you remember your practice. Maybe you connect each breath with a stroke of the broom. Maybe you focus on the sound of the bristles scratching the floor. Maybe you look at the floor and you can see the pattern of the wood, or you can see the little pieces of dust. Maybe you focus on your arms as they're holding the broom, or the soles of your feet as you're moving around the space you're in. You're engaging, you're using your 5 senses to engage with the present moment. And you sense this release. You sense this spaciousness. And that is a moment of spiritual awakening. You are consciously freeing yourself from your mental conditioning. You're freeing yourself from the suffering that you would have had where your mind was. And this is the practice. This is the practice. And our work is we increase our moments in this realm, in this spiritual realm. I want to share with you a short excerpt from my favorite guy, Thich Nhat Hanh. So he has, I love this book. It's Peace is Every Step. just these little vignettes, and this is a very short vignette he has called Washing Dishes. So I want to read this to you from Thich Nhat Hanh. He writes, "To my mind, the idea that doing dishes is unpleasant can occur only when you aren't doing them. Once you're standing in front of the sink with your sleeves rolled up and your hands in the warm water, it is really quite pleasant. I enjoy taking my time with each dish, being fully aware of the dish, the water, and each movement of my hands. I know that if I hurry in order to eat dessert sooner, the time of washing dishes will be unpleasant and not worth living. That would be a pity, for each minute, each second of life is a miracle. The dishes themselves and the fact that I am here washing them are miracles. If I'm incapable of washing dishes joyfully, if I want to finish them quickly so I can go and have dessert, I will be equally incapable of enjoying my dessert. With the fork in my hand, I'll be thinking about what to do next, and the texture and flavor of the dessert, together with the pleasure of eating it, will be lost. I will always be dragged into the future, never able to live in the present moment. Each thought, each action in the sunlight of awareness becomes sacred. In this light, no boundary exists between the sacred and the profane. I must confess, it takes me a bit longer to do the dishes, but I live fully in every moment and I am happy. Washing the dishes is at the same time a means and an end. That is, not only do we do the dishes in order to have clean dishes, we also do the dishes just to do the dishes, to live fully in each moment while washing them. So I'll finish by saying that when you're able to spend time in this spiritual realm, you naturally inside of you have more kindness in your heart, both to yourself and to others. So when you're in presence, you make the world a better place. So how you sweep the kitchen floor actually matters to the world, the state of the world. So I'll finish on that note.